Hola estudiantes, ¿cómo están? Hoy es sábado, el 6 de julio. Vamos a ver qué tenemos para hoy. So, we're finishing up lección 2 sobre las diversiones, el tiempo libre, los fines de semana, los juegos, todo eso. So, you've dealt with vocabulary and a couple of grammar points, object pronouns, gustar, y similares, and also reflexive verbs. So, the exam for chapter 2 is tomorrow night by midnight, Sunday. And take a look at that. So now remember, so it looks like everything's good, it's available, and you have a full hour to do it. But you have to remember that once you hit that button and you start to take that exam, the clock won't stop. So make sure you've got a full hour. You don't need a full hour, but just in case, you never know. Most students need about 20-25 minutes, but make sure that you're in a good place, you're studied up, no one's bothering you, and you won't be interrupted, because if you try to stop it, you won't be able to stop it, and you won't be able to come back in. All right? So just be aware of that. Now, a good way to prepare for this exam is by going to atando cabos. Atando cabos means tying up loose ends. So, atando cabos, prueba, this gives you an idea of what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, because this is similar to the actual exam. And of course, you've always got vocab right off the bat. And here, seleccione la palabra que no pertenece a cada grupo. Typical exercise where they want you to throw the one that has nothing to do with the others. So you've got 4 words. Which of these sisters doesn't have anything, is not related to the others? So they give us disfrutar, divertirse, aburrirse, entretenerse. So it should be obvious it would be aburrirse, because disfrutar, have a good time. Divertirse also means have a good time. And entretenerse also means to have a good time. Aburrirse, boring, that's the one that's not related. So that's what you're looking for in that first group. Second group, more vocabulario. Completa las oraciones con las palabras de la lista. Utiliza cada palabra una vez. So this is good information. You only use one word. You only use each word only one time, and they give you a drop down. So that's pretty good. El fin de semana pasado fuimos a un. Notice how you already know some things about your selection. You know that it's a noun because of the syntactic frame in which it occurs, and also that it's going to be singular and also masculine. So anything that's not a noun, that's not singular, it's not masculine, you can discard. So that limits your possibilities. And now you've got to match the meaning. So it's got to tick off 2 boxes, form as well as meaning. So let's see. El fin de semana fuimos a un de mi cante favorito. And it should be obvious. Aplaudir, corridas, estreno, taquilla. The only one that works is concierto. It's a noun, and it's masculine, it's singular, and it also makes perfect sense within the context of the larger sentence. So, concierto is what you want. Incompletas, completa las oraciones con las palabras o expresiones adecuadas. They give you a list. Conseguir boletos, to get tickets. Ratos libres, your free time. Empate, tie, like a score, 1-1, 2-2, 5-5. Torneo, the tournament, competition. Obra de teatro is a theater piece. Like a play. So, lo que más me gusta hacer en mis es mirar televisión. If you try to plug these in, the only one that works is ratos libres. Because you're saying, what I like to do in my free time, ratos libres, is to watch TV. Right? So, context is everything here, and it should be obvious. En donde asocia los elementos con el lugar donde normalmente se encuentra. Sigue el modelo. So here they're looking for the place where these activities would normally occur. And they give us a modelo. Los actores. Okay, actors. Where would I be likely to encounter those people? En la obra de teatro. Right? In a play. Right? In the theater. So, los jugadores. Where would I be likely to find los jugadores? Pues en la cancha. En la cancha is simply the field, right? The playing field, right? Or on the court. When you talk about tennis courts, they typically use the word cancha, en la cancha, right? Or en la pista. But cancha, if you go back, it's the only one that remotely works. En 5 tenemos reescribe las oraciones sustituyendo los objetos con pronombres de complemento directo. Sigue el modelo. Okay, so we're switching out the direct object with the appropriate direct object pronoun. Notice how here you don't have to worry about any indirect objects. You're only dealing with the direct object. And follow the model. So what do the models tell us? So, okay, they give us Juan va a conseguir los boletos. John is going to get the tickets. Okay, John is going to get what? The tickets. So that answers the what question and lets us know that los boletos is functioning as the direct complement or the direct object. So now we want to switch that guy out, and instead of saying los boletos, we just want to say John is going to get them, right? Where them stands for los boletos. But you got to watch out because now them has to agree in number, singular, plural, and also gender, masculine and feminine, with los boletos. Los boletos is plural and it's masculine, so the only one that works is los. So in this version, notice how los goes right before the conjugated verb. So we have an infinitive form, going to get. This is one that's conjugated. Conjugated just simply means that it's been given an ending that has to agree with its subject, Juan. Juan va a conseguir. But you want to say John, them is going to get. So that's the only place, given this syntactic order, where los can go. You can't put it here. You can't plug it in over here. Right? Juan nos va a conseguir. So you're always safe if you put it before the conjugated verb. You've got another spot where it can go. It can also plug onto the end of the infinitive. So two places where it can go. Before the conjugated verb, Juan los va a conseguir. But now they also want you to come up with another version and plug it onto the end. Right? Juan va a conseguirlos. They mean the same thing. It's just a difference in syntactic order, in word order. Hey, let's try one. So they give us Ana va a alquilar las películas. So Anna's going to rent the movies. Okay, good enough. So in this one, they want us to have two versions. So I would simply go, okay, Ana. And I'm switching out las películas, right? So las películas is the direct object. So the only direct object pronoun that works is one that's going to match gender and number. So las películas is plural. How do you know? Because you can say la película. But you're not talking about la película, you're talking about las películas. So it's plural, and it's also feminine because it ends with an A, right? La película, las películas. So Ana las va a alquilar. And we're home free. So again, notice how we put it right before the conjugated verb. But you're not done, because notice how you're working with a form, a periphrastic phrase, which just means that it's got more than one word. So ir plus a plus an infinitive, which means going to do something. So in this case, she's going to rent. So to rent is our infinitive. And so that is a legitimate place where you could plug on a pronoun. In this case, we want Ana va a alquilarlas. So again, it's the same direct object pronoun, but now we've plugged it on to the end of the infinitive. You've got to be careful because oftentimes when you have this form that you've plugged onto the infinitive, you've changed the essential structure of that particular word, and sometimes, depending on the idiosyncrasies of that verb, you've got to add a stress mark. Not always. You don't have to do it in this case, but just something to be aware of. Let's see, what else? Dobles objetos. All right, they're letting you know right off the bat that you're doing doubles. Double object pronouns. In the case of doubles, you always have the indirect first, followed by the direct, whether they go before the conjugated, or whether they plug onto the end of infinitive, or whether they plug onto the end of a progressive form. So it's always in that order. So Juan le da los boletos a Maria. So John is giving the tickets to Maria. Notice how I've already got my indirect, le. They already give it to me because it is anticipating a Maria. It's a little redundant, but that's okay. So le refers to a Maria. So I've got my le, and los boletos is going to be the direct. All right, so you're saying John is giving what? John is giving the tickets. John is giving the tickets to whom? To Maria. So again, the answer to the to whom question lets you know what the indirect object is, and the answer to the what question lets you know what the direct is. So if le refers to a Maria, and now you've got los boletos, the appropriate direct object pronoun would be los, then you would have Juan le los da. But that sounds really weird, and I know that can't be right, because even though it should be Juan le los da, you can't have le los. Le los becomes se los. We don't need to get into the reasons why, but this is just what Spanish does in this situation where you have two object pronouns together and they both start with L. The first one is going to go to se, right? So that's why you have Juan se los da. And literally, it would be Juan to her, them is giving. So John is going to give them to her. That's what you just said. So the order is different, but that's what you're working with. Now, here it looks like you've got a big advantage because they're giving you a drop down. Right? So it doesn't look like you have to produce anything, but you do have to discern between various possibilities. So, Daniel le presta los videojuegos a Andrés. Hey, so I've already got my subject, Daniel. Okay, he's loaning the video games to Andrés. Andrés is our indirect object. It's the destination of where our video games are going. And notice how I've already got my le, which is already signaling, hey, 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 indirect object pronoun over here. So that's my le. And then los videojuegos, when to switch it out for a direct object pronoun, it would have to be los, because videojuegos is masculine and plural. So I've got my le los, but I know le los isn't going to hold up. So what are they giving me? Daniel se los presta. Looks pretty good. Daniel se las presta. No, because that's feminine. And Daniel se lo presta. That's not going to work because that's singular. So this is the only one that's going to work where se refers to Andrés, right? It's a le that became a se when it occurs before a los, which is referring to los videojuegos. So Daniel se los presta is what you want. Completar. Completa cada oración con la forma correcta del verbo entre paréntesis. So it looks like these are verbs that work like gustar. So if you study this, so you know that it's something is fascinating to me. Coffee is pleasing to me. The bugs are bothering me. So you have that setup, which is quite different from English, right? So what is normally the direct object in English now passes over and becomes the subject in Spanish. So I would say in English, I like coffee. I like what? Coffee. Answers the what question, direct object. Right? But in Spanish, it doesn't work that way. So you can't say, yo gusto el café. It doesn't work like that. You have to say, me gusta el café, and the literal meaning is coffee, doing the action, is the subject, is pleasing to me. Right? So you always have an indirect object pronoun with these guys. So, a Lola, that's who you're talking about, lee los conciertos de ese grupo musical. If los conciertos is the thing doing the fascinating, right, then it's plural, and then you have to conjugate the verb for plural. So they give you the verb, and you just simply make it fascinan los conciertos de ese grupo musical. Most of the time, it's going to be either singular third person or singular third person. It's like gusta for singular and gustan for plural, right? And you can apply that to all these verbs that work like gustar. So, a Lola le fascinan los conciertos de ese grupo musical. Let's try another one. A Julián le, okay, I've got my complete setup. I've got my le, and this is happening to Julian. He's like the experiencer, right? And my verb is molestar. Que cancelan los espectáculos. Okay, I'm thinking plural, but notice how it's not really plural because you've got this relative clause, and it's really an idea. So the idea that they cancel the shows is what's bothering John. So the shows is not the subject. It's the fact that they're thinking about canceling the shows. It's abstract. It's seen as one act, and therefore it would be a Julián le molesta. Le molesta que cancelen los espectáculos. How do I know? Because that they cancel the shows. And they haven't done it yet. It's abstract. So be careful. They're going to throw some of those in, obviously. Preguntas. Completa cada oración con la forma correcta del verbo reflexivo indicado. So this deals with reflexive verbs. So you know by your study that you have verbs when they're used reflexively, and obviously when they're used reflexively, you know that because the infinitive shows up with a little se, acordarse. And when you conjugate it, you have to take that reflexive pronoun into account. Yo me acuerdo, tú te acuerdas, ellos se acuerdan, nosotros nos acordamos. Well, that's how you know it's reflexive. But it quite often has a very different meaning than the non-reflexive version. So if I say, yo nunca duermo en clase, that means I never sleep in class. Okay. But if I say, nunca me duermo en clase, I never fall asleep in class. Obviously, there's a shared semantic, but they're not the same. By the same token, acordar means to agree. Tú y yo acordamos. Okay, we're agreed. Let's sign the paper. Acordamos. We agree. But if we say, nos acordamos, it means we remember. So the use of reflexive versus non-reflexive can signal a huge change in the meaning. So here they're saying, I think they just want you to use the reflexive version in every case. Let's see how it works. Carolina, ¿a qué hora tú los lunes? And quite typically, vocabulary and phrases that you're used to talk about your daily routine, you would use reflexive verbs to talk about that. So she's saying, hey, Carolina, what time do you wake up? What time do you get up on Monday morning? So levantarse is reflexive. I don't think you have a choice. They just want you to use levantarse, but you've got to conjugate it. ¿A qué hora te levantas los lunes por la mañana? ¿No? And then she comes back and she says, los lunes yo me levanto a las 7. Okay, so it's pretty clear. A person's asking another person, hey, what time do you get up? And the other one comes back and says, I get up. So you knew it was reflexive because they gave it to you in the original verb levantarse. Same story here, afeitarse. So you know it's got to be reflexive. You have to take that reflexive pronoun into account. So Andrea is asking Tomás something. She's saying, hey, buddy, listen up. Tomás, ¿tú te afeitas todos los días? Do you shave? Do you shave yourself every day? ¿Te afeitas todos los días? By implication, it's understood that his face, probably, right? And Tomás says, no, yo no me afeito cada 2 días. No, he's saying, no, yo, whoops, I put an extra no in there. So he says, no, yo me afeito cada 2 días. No, I only shave every other day, every 2 days. So, Tomás, ¿tú te afeitas todos los días? Do you shave every day? No, no, no. No, yo me afeito cada 2 días. No, I shave every 2 days. So that's what you're going with there. So again, this is a good place to come. Remember, for this diagnostic, you only got 1 shot. And it'll score it for you, let you know how you did. And then you can concentrate on the areas in which you need to work a little bit more in advance of the Chapter 2 exam, which is set for tomorrow, domingo, antes de la medianoche. Bueno, les dejo por ahora. Creo que es suficiente. Si necesitan algo, me avisan. Si no, suerte con todo y hasta muy pronto. Adiós.